Gender is a complicated topic, and it can be confusing if you don't know much about it. It's okay to learn more about it, though, and Shawnee Mission South's Gender and Sexuality Club can help you do just that. Based in Mr. Duncan's choir room and run by South students, GSA is welcoming all for a better education on such difficult topics such as gender and sexuality. There, you can learn more about the benefits of using someone's preferred name and pronouns. Just hear it from them.
I'm Kay Watson.
Echo Kane.
Kit.
Cole Keyser.
Mars Edwards.
My name is Parker Shelley.
My pronouns are they, them.
I use any pronouns.
I go by D, all of the above. I'll answer to any of them. I prefer them all and are used.
My pronouns are he, him.
He, they.
And my pronouns are he, him.
Greater social gender affirmation is associated with improved mental health and well-being among diverse groups of transgender and gender-diverse adults and youth. How does using someone's proper pronouns and preferred name have a positive effect on their mental health?
When it comes to properly using someone's preferred name and pronouns, it shows them respect and makes them, especially when they come from a non-inclusive environment, it makes them feel loved or makes them feel like they're important. When somebody just uses like my pronouns just right off the bat, like you just use they, them as a default for me, it kind of just makes me a bit gender euphoric, it makes me feel a bit better about myself. Like I'm much more masculine presenting, and because of that people tend to use he, him pronouns for me when they first meet me. But I use they, them pronouns, and that's when people tend to respect that, I just tend to feel more comfortable around them.
For me, I like when people use like any pronouns and they just use them like completely interchanged. Like that makes me feel amazing inside. Like just those tiny little butterflies that someone respects you enough.
I encourage and actively want people to use any pronouns and change them around. I really love it whenever someone uses one pronoun at one point in a conversation, then switches to another. It just feels incredibly validating.
Oh my gosh, I think it helps a significant amount. I think it's extremely important to use someone's pronouns because it can make someone's whole day.
A lot of trans people deal with dysphoria, and hearing people recognize their pronouns really helps with that and helps improve overall mental health. I remember when the counselor sent the email out to my teachers, the next day I heard my algebra teacher use my correct pronouns, and I just sat there like, oh my gosh. I was just so happy, and I went home and I told my mom and I told my friends, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that just made my day.
It makes you feel listened to and heard and accepted.
Using someone's proper pronouns is kind of like suicide prevention in a way.
As of 2020, around 24% of U.S. transgender and non-binary youth who reported that no one respected their pronouns attempted suicide in the past year. This statistic supports that using someone's pronouns really affects a person's mental health. Change can be challenging, and that comes with making mistakes, so unintentionally misgendering someone is something that happens. Here's what you can do if you misgender someone. Number 1, correct yourself. Number 2, apologize. Remember to keep your apology brief, though. You don't want to draw attention to the situation, and you don't want to make it about you and your mistake. And remember, if you're corrected by someone else, don't get defensive. Now, let's talk to the students about their personal experiences here at South. How is Shawnee Mission South accommodated to your gender identity?
At the first day of school, when they try to when they ask you what your preferred name and pronouns are, and try to make that more inclusive, try to start that conversation for other people to finish it. You're able to change your name in their system, like how I was able to change mine.
First week of school, there's always those introduction things. I was really happy with this year there being more teachers who had your preferred name and pronouns on the little sheets you enter. My freshman year, I barely remember anyone doing that.
I know the counselors are really nice here. They help me a lot, like with sending out emails and stuff to notify my teachers.
I believe most of the teachers did do the whole get to know you game, and they kind of had you say your preferred pronouns in your name depending on what class you were in. That was really cool. In counseling, you can go email one of your personal counselor. They can send you a form and you can get in your preferred pronouns and your preferred name into the system, which is really cool.
There is a way to change your name and pronouns in Skyward, which has been mentioned earlier in the video. All you need to do is take a trip down to the counselor's office and talk with a counselor. They will then give you a paper form for you and your parents to fill out. Once it's completed, your counselors will make updates to your Skyward. How can South continue to progress in their efforts to support LGBTQ+ students?
I think that the name changing process is a bit too difficult, especially for one student to do on their own. From what I have seen myself, you typically need a parent's approval or like a guardian's assistance with it. And if you are in a transphobic household, that can be extremely difficult and very taxing for your mental health. If you just bring it up to a teacher and they, in goodwill, try to bring it to the office, try to help with it, and then they contact your parents, the stuff that can do to you is awful. You know, you need to, in my opinion, you should be able to do that without assistance of adults of any kind.
I like it if teachers might say their own preferred pronouns. From what I can remember, I think I only had about 1 or 2 people doing that. I feel like if we would be able to put something within the health curriculum, educating about the different identities. English class specifically being able to teach that they, them is a singular pronoun.
Maybe just making it a bit more visible, kind of promoting GSA a little bit more. I wouldn't have known about it unless one of my friends was in it. And some world studies, add some of the queer history. You don't really see that at all. Everyone kind of pushes it down.
I think just like normalizing it more. We're already doing a really good job, but I think like continuing to keep making it more just a casual thing, because that's what it is.
South prides itself on maintaining an inclusive and welcoming culture. Next, we're going to talk to the administrators and counselors about how they think South can continue and further inclusivity.
I am Dr. Justin Bogart. My preferred pronouns are he, him, and his.
My name is Mrs. Fredenberg, and my preferred pronouns are she and her.
My name's Mrs. Burvey, and my preferred pronouns are she, her.
How can South continue to create an inclusive environment?
Well, I think there are a number of things that we can do and that we already do. We want students to know that we care deeply about their well-beings. We are working with our teachers to make the instruction that takes place in their classrooms representative of their experiences and the things that students are bringing from their lives into the classrooms. We want to make sure that we're sensitive to that. And I do know that sometimes the front door of the school is the scariest door for a student to pass through. And we want to change that perception about us if students have that perception.
I think it's just being open and talking about it to reduce some of the stigma around anybody that may be different in the community, so they can feel comfortable in our environment and welcome and open and not set up those kind of obstacles that kind of interfere with that.
I think exposure is always going to be probably the best way to break down barriers for any kind of issue. You know, when social workers go into like health classes or go in to make freshman presentations, we talk about the importance of mental health. Trans youth suicide rates are much higher for students who struggle. So we want to make sure that we are getting information out there, that we are here to help support and get them connected to, you know, resources in the community, mental health resources.
The Trevor Project is an organization specifically for the LGBTQ+ youth community. Here's the website, The Lifeline, Trevor Space, which is a social network, and Trevor Chat for messaging. Additionally, here are some other local and national hotlines for texting and calling.
If you're not accepted certain places, there are groups of people, and heck, I am one of them. Like, I'm going to accept anyone. Like, you can come to me with anything. You are accepted somewhere. You can go to GSA. You don't have to be super out there in public. Like, there are people who are just super quiet. That's A-okay. We're all here to support you in what you want to do.
If you would like to learn more about this stuff, you're always free to join in for one of the meetings of GSA. We hold meetings every Wednesday in the morning. We start at 7:10 in the choir room. You do not have to be part of the LGBT community. We are more than happy to have allies who want to learn more. It's meant to be a place of education as well as a place for just safety and community.
An ally is an individual who stands up for the equal and fair treatment of people different than them. Allies offer some of the most effective and powerful voices for those who are underrepresented.